The following program does not necessarily represent the views or opinions of the staff, management, or ownership of this station.
The following pre-recorded program is brought to you by Vitruvian, a Texas-based registered investment advisor.
Now, let the uprising begin.
There are only two genders, and one of them is right here. It's the box that rocks. This is the Angela Box Show on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
Hello, hello, hello. Once again, all my fellow patriots and you filthy leftist stalkers out there. You're listening to the Angela Box Show. Hey, we're here, man. We're here. We're ready to kick ass and take names. Before we jump into all the crap this week, because there is a lot, ladies and gentlemen, I just wanted to give a moment of silence. This is very serious, very, very serious, and something I'm getting ready to tell you. You might want to pull over, sit down, whatever you need to do to prepare yourself. Trigger warning, all the things, okay? Taylor Swift and Travis Kelce have broken up. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, the couple of our times, the most amazing, wonderful, talented singer that's ever walked the face of the earth, and the most amazing quarterback from the Kansas City Chiefs, Mr. Pfizer himself, Mr. Pfizer brand ambassador, Mr. I got my shots and so should you. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, Taylor Swift is once again single. So, boys out there, maybe girls, who knows, maybe Taylor for her next publicity stunt will switch teams, who knows, but line up because she's now single again. There's also something really funny about this little breakup. So supposedly, I'm giving a caveat here, I don't know if this is true. They're both saying, "Oh, this is total lies," whatever. But evidently, a breakup contract or a contract between Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift was evidently proffered sometime last year while the hoopla was going on with them and saying that they were supposed to break up on September 28th, 2024. Now, both camps have said this is false, this is defamatory, we're going to find out who leaked this horrible document, but it's with their full scope management team. It's got their logo on it and everything. I mean, it's a pretty, look, if this is fake, this is a pretty deep fake. You know what I'm saying? Like, this took a lot of effort to come up with, let's put it on the logo, let's write out this contract, and let's say they're going to break up on September 28th. Well, it is, as I'm taping it, September 4th. So I guess one or both of the contractors were like, we can call this thing good. We're done here. So yes, Taylor Swift is once again single. So boys out there, betas, men who sit in the cuck chair in hotel rooms, your girl's back on the market. So jump on in and get this basic Becky for yourself. Okay, let's talk about some serious stuff because there's a lot, as I said, this week. Before I get to Kamala Harris's code switching and her pulling her hot sauce out of the purse moment, which is what Hillary Clinton did in order to appeal to black audiences, I want to talk about what Speaker Mike Johnson is doing and the good Mike Johnson that he is at least cosplaying to be this week. Do I think that Mike Johnson will fold like a cheap suit at the end? Yes, of course I do. But right now, he's pretending that he's going to go to the mat with this. And what am I talking about? So there's going to be another government shutdown. Please shut the government down. For the love of God, please. Keep the essentials open. Oh, by the way, spoiler alert, the essential service people are never shut down. All right? And they get all their money back once the government gets refunded. But please, shut this bloated, bureaucratic, nightmarish mess of a government down. The government that is spending billions upon billions of dollars to send to Ukraine their money laundering kickback scheme and billions of dollars to illegal aliens. Yes, please, shut this thing down. But anyway, Mike Johnson working with Trump, which I think is genius. Now, he knows where his bread is buttered. He knows that as long as he stays on Trump's good side, he'll probably be Speaker of the House. If he caves, he won't be Speaker for much longer. So here's what Mike Johnson wants to do. The government is set to be shut down, I think towards the end of the month, basically the end of the Travis Kelce and Taylor Swift contract. But in order to avert a government shutdown, here's what Mike Johnson has now put into this bill. It's called the SAVE Act. And the SAVE Act basically says it's the Safeguard American Voter Eligibility Act, which requires people registering to vote in federal elections to provide documentary proof of citizenship. Now, Democrats keep telling us that the idea that illegal aliens are voting in elections is fake news, and it's not real. Well, first of all, the whole idea that illegal aliens aren't voting is a lie. Because all an illegal alien has to do in states that give driver's license to illegal aliens is to show a photo ID sometimes, and sometimes they don't have to show anything. Because remember, Democrats tell black and brown people that they're too stupid or helpless to have a photo ID to vote, which is because they want to cheat, obviously, duh. So anyway, if you think, there's this weird little caveat in the election code, which says that if you think you are eligible to vote, then you're allowed to vote. And then all you have to say is, well, I didn't know. I didn't know I wasn't eligible to vote. Whoopsie. And like they're going to be able to chase down your ballot. Like that's the whole point, guys. I've said this for, 10 years. If illegal aliens, if the millions upon millions of illegal aliens that are flooding our borders right now were somehow going to be future Republican voters, that wall would have been built 25 years ago. So let's keep it 100 here. Now, here's what the SAVE Act does. Requires documentary proof of U.S. citizenship for voter registration in federal elections, number one. Number two, states must verify the citizenship status of registrants. Of course, Democrats say, oh, that's too difficult. Oh, that's voter suppression. Again, you're telling us that illegal aliens don't vote, but out the same party's other side of your mouth, you're saying that requiring proof of citizenship is an undue burden. Anyway, continuing. Number three, there are provisions for removing non-citizens from voter rolls, and four, it allows for legal action against election officials who register individuals without verifying their citizenship. Now, the SAVE Act has already passed the House of Representatives, with no Democrats supporting it, naturally, but is facing hurdles in the Senate because Senate Majority Leader Chuck Schumer won't bring it up. And you know who else won't bring it up? The disgusting, decrepit old turtle, Mitch McConnell. Mitch McConnell, who is on record saying that MAGA needs to be killed. The idea that this movement, this MAGA movement of making America great again, which is taking in people from the left, right, center, obviously RFK Jr., people like Tulsi Gabbard, Roseanne Barr, Russell Brand, Elon Musk, all these former Democrats, these are, name brand people that have put their chips all in on MAGA, in addition to the everyday Americans, in addition to union members who are telling Joe Biden to go F himself. Like, they're all in to make America great again. Who's not wanting to do that? The people who are allowing this massive voter influx of illegal aliens. That's who. So Mitch McConnell ain't going to push this. Chuck Schumer isn't going to push this. So right now, this is basically going to be an interesting game of chicken. Because if Mike Johnson has any brains left in his head, if he hasn't been completely corrupted by the never-Trumpers and the rhinos and the establishment and the deep state swamp in the party, he's going to hold firm on this because this is going to make Democrats really squirm. They're going to be in a massive pickle. We're going to talk about this when we get back because it's delicious. All right, you're listening to the Angela Box Show. We'll be right back.
Hey, fellow patriots and filthy leftist stalkers. It's Angela Box on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
Okay, so back to this SAVE Act game of chicken that is now going to be going on. It's genius. It's absolutely genius because Democrats are going to have to make a decision because they're claiming, of course, that this is voter suppression and that some people they just don't know how to do it. They just don't know how to provide proof of citizenship. Here's the way you provide proof of citizenship, all right? You have your naturalization papers if you are an immigrant. If you are a legal immigrant, you have no problems doing this. If you are a citizen of this country, you have no problems doing this. In fact, most Democrats don't have problems showing an ID to vote. And when I say that the Democrats think that black and brown people are too dumb too stupid or too helpless to give a photo ID to vote, this is what I'm talking about. Because they know in order to win elections, they must cheat. They don't want anybody looking into the machines. They don't want anyone looking into the software. They don't want anyone looking into the mail-in ballot or the ballot harvesting or the drop boxes or everything they did in 2020 and in 2022. They don't want anyone looking at that. You know who else doesn't want anybody looking at that? Why? The disgusting governor of Georgia, Brian Kemp, and the disgusting Secretary of State, Georgia, Brad Raffensperger, who were 100% in on the steal of 2020. Anyway, I digress. So Democrats are viewing the SAVE Act as suppressing votes among eligible citizens who might face difficulties in obtaining proof of citizenship, and they say that, existing laws already prohibit non-citizens from voting. Again, I call BS, because in these blue states, in these motor voter states that are given driver's licenses to illegals, some of these blue states, they don't have any safeguards in place to determine if you're a legal voter or not. If you go and you say, yeah, I'm a legal voter, let me sign my name here. I'm John Smith. I'm John Q. Public. Let me sign my name. They don't care. They just want the votes. So obviously, not requiring ID combined with mail-in voting and drop boxes, et cetera, makes it completely impossible to prove fraud. Obviously. Now let me give you a few countries. I'm looking at this screenshot here that Elon put up, and there's literally dozens of countries that require voter ID. In fact, Argentina, they went back to paper ballots and one-day voting. They were able to count all their votes in hours. Same with France. I believe France is on that list that requires voter ID. Let me give you some of the names here: Iceland, Sweden, New Zealand, Denmark, Canada, Ireland, Switzerland, Finland, Australia, Luxembourg, Netherlands, Germany, Austria, Malta, UK, Spain, Uruguay, Japan, Italy, France. There it is. France, South Korea, Costa Rica, Botswana, Portugal. I mean, look, there's El Salvador, Greece. They're all on there. You know who's not? The United States of America. Why? Because Democrats need those cheating ballots to get fed into the system and make sure they get their people over the finish line. It's not real hard to figure out. Now, the SAVE Act requires all of these things. They've got to verify citizenship. They require states to remove non-citizens from voter rolls, and it takes legal action against officials who registered non-citizens. Now, there have been a few people in the Senate, like Mike Lee, Ted Cruz, the good ones that are pushing this. And they need to hold Mitch McConnell's feet to the fire. They need to force Mitch McConnell to force Chuck Schumer to take this up. And yeah, look, we know the Democrats aren't going to vote for it. Put them on the record. Show the American people and the world that they are basically saying, yep, we need illegals in order to vote. Now, on the illegal alien front, there's a lot going on. Obviously, people are up in arms of what's going on with these violent Venezuelan gangs that have been allowed into our country. Guys, none of this is on accident. This is all on purpose. The borders are. Kamala Harris knows it's on purpose. Alexander Mayorkas knows it's on purpose. Joe Biden or whoever is running his Twitter knows it's on purpose. This is 100% purposeful in order to blend the world, to blend the countries, to make sure that America does not have a national identity and no borders, to make sure all of Western civilization is destroyed in order to get the Great Reset, the Green New Deal, the Green New Scam, and to impose Soviet-like, Chinese-like social credit scores, etc., run by the elites. This is communism 101. It's been done since the Communist Revolution in 1919. Now, on a quick side note about that, when you hear the words misinformation, disinformation, we've got to censor people to keep them safe, because censorship keeps you safe and to make sure that mis and disinformation doesn't get out there to the people. Do you know who was big on those words, ladies and gentlemen? Fred and I, my fiance, I've already watched Chernobyl, but he has not. And I highly, highly recommend Chernobyl. For the simple fact that you can see a blueprint as to what Soviet Russia did and the way they spoke and the way you can see it directly parroted by Democrats today. Because in Soviet Russia, and if you go to IMDb and you read the reviews of Chernobyl, there's a lot of former Soviet Union citizens that are like, this thing is so accurate, it's scary. The way their phone lines were tapped, you could not speak freely. They would say if you were talking about how bad the Chernobyl disaster was, like that people needed to get the hell out of Dodge, take iodine tablets, like literally leave your stuff and go. It's bad. They were said that was misinformation and disinformation. That is 100% out of the Soviet playbook. Of course, Democrats today have made Russia the boogeyman because Russia's not Soviet anymore. And they want to say that everything is Russian mis and disinformation. So they took that language from Soviet Russia and they just co-opted it. And now are saying everything is Russian disinformation. Now, let's get to this illegal alien situation here. Because the longer this goes on, the more that Twitter is free, and there is a reason that the Soviets, the communists in Brazil, Luna, and the communists running Brazil currently, who installed Luna, who they basically did a complete copy of the 2020 election in America. They did that in Brazil. Bolsonaro won that election, and he was forced out because of the cheating that they employed. So they put in this communist, Luna. And Luna has said that Elon Musk, Twitter is banned. He can't, no Twitter in Brazil. No Twitter for you, Brazil. So Elon Musk is fighting this, of course. And the communist government of Brazil is so authoritarian. They're saying that if you have a VPN, which a lot of people use VPNs to get around censorship, etc. I need to put my VPN back on my computer because, my TikTok, which was my first TikTok, was suspended. My new TikTok, I try to post something, I put any hashtag on there, it's like, nope, they won't allow it. They will not allow it. So a lot of people are using VPNs to get around censorship. Well, Brazil is like, no, we're going to fine you basically the equivalent of about $10,000 a day if you use a VPN to access X. Please, God, make me stop saying Twitter because that's what the leftists call it, and I need to just suck it up and call it X. Anyway. So obviously they want to shut down all that kind of information. But because X is open and free, because it is a free speech platform, Kamala Harris, Democrats, etc., they're basically telling everyone, hey, we get back into power, we're going to be really clamping down on X because they're putting out Russian dis and misinformation. What's the disinformation they're putting out? Why? They're showing what's going on in places like Aurora, Colorado. Now, Aurora, Colorado, my late grandmother lived there. My half-sister lives in Denver. I'm trying to convince her to vote Republican because she's a little squishy. And I'm like, look, sis, this is Democrat playbook 101. If you want this to continue, then vote for Kamala Harris because she's a communist. Raised by Marxists in Quebec. Her father was literally a Marxist professor. This woman is stupid. She's dumb and arrogant. She's the epitome of dumb and arrogant as a dangerous combination, but she's a true believer. All right. Communists are stupid. They're evil, and they know that their constituents, their followers, are the definition of useful idiots. Okay. They know this. That's why they push the pablum they push. But the reason why they're trying to shut X down is because you have accounts showing what's going on in Aurora. My late grandmother lived there, as I mentioned. My sister lives there. Aurora is, when I would visit my grandmother, it was a very safe suburb of Denver. Akin to Katy. Katy is still relatively safe, right? So Aurora was kind of that vibe. Very safe, not a lot of crime, a lot of older people there, safe, good for families, etc. Well, this past week, we've got video upon video upon video of violent Venezuelan gangs basically taking over entire apartment complexes, low-income apartment complexes, displacing the management team, and telling the renters there, we're taking this over, you're going to be paying us rent now, or kicking the residents out of their homes and squatting in their apartments. This is happening in Aurora. This is happening in Chicago. We now have a situation in New York City where 75% of all new arrests, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? They are all illegal aliens. Can you imagine in New York City the crime rate that has always been not great, except when Giuliani was mayor, but of course now they hate Giuliani. Man, I bet New Yorkers that lived through the Giuliani years wish to God they could go back, even if they hate Giuliani for being a Trump guy. Boy, I bet they wish they could have some of that safety and security and peace that they had during the Giuliani years back. But they don't, because they vote for Democrats. So this is what you get when you vote for Democrats. You get lawlessness and mayhem, and California now saying that they're going to give $150,000 tax-free. Just give it to illegal aliens to buy homes in California. They're going to give them interest-free loans. Illegal aliens they're giving these loans to. They're not going to give them to their citizens. No. They're going to give them to illegal aliens. Why? Because they are replacing their voters. And this is why more and more black people are waking up to this. And this is why especially black men are running off that Democrat plantation. But, black women are too. People are as well. We've got, right here in Houston, a woman named Sean Thierry. This is kind of a side note. I may have to pick this up when we get back. Sean Thierry, Democrat State House Rep. She lost her election this March to a lunatic. I don't even know what her name is. She's some crazy person. And the reason why she lost her race is going to make your head explode. And we're going to talk about that when we get back. So, we'll just keep on this, ladies and gentlemen. I have 4 million notes, and I'm getting to 2 of them. That's how it goes on the Angela Box Show. We'll be right back.
Fighting for the conservative cause. It's the box that rocks. Angela Box on AM 1070 and FM 1033. The Answer.
All right, so in March during the Texas primary, Sean Thierry was challenged on the left by some crazy person. Again, don't remember her name. Doesn't matter. She's an NPC at this point. They all sound and look and think and talk exactly the same. Sean Thierry had the audacity to side with Republicans when the gender modification bill was coming up in the House. And to say that, just maybe we shouldn't have pornography in front of kids at school. I don't know. I know that's a radical position. And, they keep telling us how weird that is to not want pornography in front of kids. But Sean Thierry came out and sided with the Republicans on that and against gender modification, saying we're not going to do that in the state of Texas. Although Texas Children's Hospital still, hold my beer, they are trying to get around that and still push genital mutilation onto children because they are evil people. And oh, by the way, last time I checked, Texas Children is flying a stupid Ukraine flag in front of their building. Yeah, so, again, they're all the same. So Sean Thierry, because she stood with Republicans and with children and on the side of parents who don't want literal gay porn and gender ideology crap pushed on their students in public schools, she lost her race. Well, ladies and gentlemen, this past week, Sean Thierry, she said, you know what? To hell with you. I'm leaving the Democrat Party. I'm going to the party of faith, family, and freedom. So that she is now a Republican, which is really wild. Super cool to see. I definitely can't wait to interview Sean Thierry, hopefully soon. Because I remember when she came out and put her foot in the water to step on the side of sanity, I was like, ooh, she's gonna get it. Now, I'm going to tell you a little inside baseball here. I know a state rep. Not going to say who it is. Not going to say the gender of the state rep. Let's just say it's a state rep who I know. All right? This person told me when the gender stuff was really being debated last year, and I went on TV to talk about it quite a bit. This person told me, most of us in the black community, elected officials, most of us are not down for this whatsoever. It's wrong. We don't think it should be happening at all. And I said, well, then what you need to be doing is being a leader on this issue and leading the way for your fellow Democrats to say that, it's okay that if you guys want to push porn and genital mutilation onto children, like that's on you. But we, as moderate Democrats, at least on this issue, or sane Democrats on this issue, we're not going to be pushing this. We're not going to be getting behind this. And this state rep basically told me that if they did that they would lose their election. So this person was actually correct, because look what happened to Sean Terry. So that's how radical even the Democrats in Texas have become. They're lunatics. They want open borders. They want child genital mutilation. They want porn in front of kids, period, at the end. Okay? They just do. Now, someone else who is pushing this insanity is the communist Pope Francis. Pope Francis is right about 10% of the time. Now, those of you who've been listening to me for a while know that I was raised Catholic. I still consider myself a Catholic at heart, but I am not down for the direction the church has taken in the past few decades, covering up the pedophilia scandal, which, again, if you know my story at all, you know that my mother was, she tried to shine the light on a pedophile priest at the parish we were at when I was growing up, and she basically got blackballed and destroyed because she tried to expose this guy. And it turns out years later that, oh yeah, he was a pedophile. Oh yeah, he got defrocked. Oh yeah, he got excommunicated. So Margaret was right. So the church turning a blind eye on this, moving priests around all over the place, which we all know the game. We all know what they did. That, and then we've got this literal communist who is now Pope of the Catholic Church. He said that countries who, quote, repel migrants is a grave sin. So basically, you should just open your borders and you can allow the globalists to completely change your country, to completely destroy your culture, and we're not supposed to do anything about it. Now, over in the UK, they are jailing people. They are literally emptying their prisons of real criminals. And they are jailing people who post on X or on social media that they want their countries back, that they do not want this unfettered illegal immigration of these people who are destroying their culture. It's not about race as much as it is as a national culture. And every country has a national identity. And countries in the West are being overrun by the third world. That's just a fact. That's what globalists want. They want everybody to be the same. It's much easier to control people if everyone is at each other's throats over stuff like this. It's much easier. Divide and conquer. That's it. That's why they don't want MAGA, because making America great again encompasses everybody. It doesn't just encompass white people, as the left likes to tell you. No, it encompasses everybody. So Pope Francis saying this is not surprising. But when we've got armed illegal alien gangs that are taking over Chicago, taking over Aurora, Colorado, these are the consequences to the actions of what Democrats have pushed. These are the consequences of actions of what dummies who vote for Democrats have pushed. We should just accept all of them. And we always say this to Democrats. Okay, you first. You open up your house. You open up your warehouse and you put all those illegals in there and you clothe them and feed them and send them to school. And we've got a situation over in Colony Ridge with this dirtbag Trey Harris, who's a big rhino guy, by the way. This Trey Harris guy, this developer that has developed Colony Ridge, which is basically an illegal alien magnet. They're like, wow, Colony Ridge. Wow, that's really that's pumped up the school population by like 200%. Why won't the people over in this county, I think it's Liberty County, I could be wrong, correct me if I'm wrong, why won't they pass a bond to make sure that the schools are funded? Oh, aren't they mean? No, they're not going to pass a bond because these are all illegal aliens. That's why the school numbers are flooding in this county, because Colony Ridge, which is a magnet for illegal aliens in Texas, 45 minutes away from Houston. Disgusting people. So, Kamala Harris, the border czar, called herself the border czar. Everyone called her the border czar. No one's asking her any questions about this. Her dumb interview that she did with her daddy, her white daddy, Tim Walz, last week. They cut 40 minutes out of this interview. They only aired 23 minutes of the interview. Imagine this, guys. Imagine this. Just put the shoe on the other foot real quick. Imagine if Donald Trump had figuratively hid himself in the basement. They switched out, and somehow Donald Trump, he was the vice president, and they switched him out, and now he's going to be the nominee with nobody voting for him. And he was unbelievably unpopular in the primary, so unpopular he had to drop out right before the first primary in 2020. And let's just pretend that Donald Trump in the first debate in the 2020 cycle got destroyed by, I don't know, Ted Cruz. Just destroyed, which is what Tulsi Gabbard did to Kamala Harris. Destroyed her, broke her in the first debate of 2019-2020 cycle. So just pretend like, okay, Donald Trump, he has to drop out of the race, and let's say let's say Mike Pence becomes the president. All right, Mike Pence becomes the president, and he appoints Donald Trump as vice president, and Mike Pence ends up being a complete knucklehead and totally incompetent, and I don't know, has 22 shell companies when he's never had a real job in his life, and somehow is laundering all this money through these shell companies, and he's got a son that is working with foreign governments in order to enrich his family, and the media's like not interested in this at all. And then he becomes senile, and it's obvious he's become senile, and then Donald Trump comes in and says, you know what, I'll do it, I'll run for president. Never got a vote. No one voted for him ever. Okay? Now imagine that Donald Trump hides in his figurative basement for 37 days. And the only appearances he does are appearances where he has a teleprompter speech in front of him, where he code switch sometimes, and by that I mean, he goes out and he's like, I feel no ways tired. I've come too far from where I've been to go back now. Or whips hot sauce out of his briefcase, like Hillary Clinton whipped some hot sauce out of her purse when she was talking to a black audience, or Hillary Clinton code switched when she was talking to a black church. And then this week, of course, Kamala Harris doing the same thing, going in front of three different audiences. One in Philadelphia, one in Detroit, one in somewhere else, talking about union members. And, oh, you better thank a union member. You better thank a foghorn leghorn over here, Kamala Harris. You better thank a union member for the 5-day work week. Why, you better thank a union member for your vacation time. Whipping out her black accent in front of the Detroit audience and then talking like a normal person in front of her Philadelphia audience. Okay, so imagine Trump does all that, right? Talks in front of a teleprompter, and that's all he does. Then he sits in front of a friendly audience. I don't know, Fox News. Let's say Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity is going to sit down and do the first Trump interview, okay? And the media's like, yeah, that's great. That's great. That's fine. Yes, of course. Of course he's going to sit down with Sean Hannity. Sean Hannity is a very well-respected and unbiased journalist. So he sits down in front of Sean Hannity, and they do an hour-long interview, and Donald Trump brings his running mate with him. Let's say his running mate is RFK. Say he brings RFK with him. And he brings forget it. He brings J.D. Vance with him. Brings J.D. Vance with him to give him a little bit of oomph, to, maybe back him up a little bit because everybody knows that Donald Trump's just a moron and he can't speak off the cuff. So J.D. Vance is there to prop him up. Now, I'm going to get back to this scenario in the last segment because it illustrates just how unbelievably dishonest the media is and how stupid they think you are. All right, you're listening to the Angela Box Show. We'll be right back.
State my case, of which I'm certain.
Standing up for what's right. This is the Angela Box Show on the Big 1070. The Answer.
Okay, so back to my scenario here. All right, I know my listeners are very smart, so switching the players out is not very difficult for you to follow. For you idiot leftists that might be listening, and I know a lot of you hate listen to me and hate watch me, try and keep up, okay? So Trump's sitting in front of Sean Hannity, let's say, hasn't done an interview in 37 days, hasn't done a press conference, won't take any questions from the media, even friendly media. And then, his surrogate in the current White House, let's say it's Kayleigh McEnany. Kayleigh McEnany won't take any questions about how Donald Trump's the borders are, and the border's wide open, and why isn't Donald Trump answering any questions from the media? Sits down, and then they do a long interview, and it's pre-taped. It's pre-taped, ladies and gentlemen. It's not live. It's pre-taped, and they have a whole afternoon to edit this thing. And then they put out a clip of Donald Trump talking to Sean Hannity. And he sounds like a complete moron. And he talks about time and the passage of time and how time is very important. And, you know, the thing about time is that yesterday was another time, and then tomorrow's going to be another time. And, you know, even a year from now, that's another time in our time. And then they put out the clip, and then, ladies and gentlemen, they only play 23 minutes of this sit-down interview that Donald Trump and J.D. Vance had with Sean Hannity. Now, obviously, that didn't happen. That happened with Kamala Harris. And then we come to find out this week, of course, that there's 43 or so minutes that CNN's got that they didn't air. Now, what does that tell you, ladies and gentlemen? It tells you that the woman who wanted all the rules changed in the debate that they set up originally to trap Trump, because remember what the whole reason they put these debate rules into place in the first place. Mic's muted when you're not talking, no studio audience. Those were to trap Trump. And then, you know, putting up Dana Bash, Droopy Dog Dana Bash, and Jake Tapper, two of the biggest CNN fake news hacks that there ever was. Trump's like, sure, I'll do it. Cool, I'll do it. Turned out it was great for Trump because Joe Biden couldn't speak and Trump kept it together. So Kamala Harris, one of the mics unmuted, so she couldn't go off on her word salads and, you know, when she's, because when she's on, she's got to actually answer a question, and it could go word salady real quick. And she can't say stupid things like, I'm speaking. Excuse me, I'm speaking. A black woman is speaking. Excuse me, I'm reclaiming my time, Donald Trump. So Kamala Harris didn't get her way. She's not going to be able to have her mics unmuted. She's not going to be able to have notes. This woman wanted to have notes, pre-recorded notes. And you know, ladies and gentlemen, please, let's keep it 100. If they could figure out a way to have her write notes on her hand or put a tiny little earpiece in her ear, you know they're going to do it. That's going to be funny to watch. But Kamala Harris is such a nothing, a lightweight, a literal and a political whore that she couldn't even do an interview, a live interview with a friendly media hack like Dana Bash, Droopy Dog Dana Bash, whose, oh, by the way, husband was one of the 51 intelligence officers that signed off on the fact that the Hunter Biden laptop was, ladies and gentlemen, Russian disinformation. Couldn't even sit down with this hack for an hour by herself. Had to bring her, the white guy, had to bring the white man who is a pathological liar, who just lies his face off all the time, whose entire family is completely supporting Trump, by the way. There's this funny post on X. Tim Walz's family, all of them in Nebraska, which I guess that's where he's from originally. Like there's like 10 or 11 of them that are all wearing Waltz family members for Trump t-shirts. He's like totally estranged from his entire family. The guy went to China 30 times. I mean, anyone have it? Hello, is this thing on? He's a communist. He's dumb, and she's a communist, and she's extra, extra dumb. All right. So she couldn't even sit down for an hour with a sycophantic media talking head. Dana Bash sat there and basically gave her the answers. Like, hey Kamala, you know, they were calling you border czar. I mean, like, that's not really true, but, you know, let's just say it is. They put you in charge of the border, but, like, have you learned it? Did you learn anything, like, when you were vice president? Like, I'm sure you learned a lot of things, or I'm sure you figured out when you were there that it's a lot more complicated than the Republicans are trying to make it out, like, giving her the answers. And this dummy couldn't even do that. So they cobbled together 23 minutes of an interview that this woman could barely get through, word saladed her way through, and they scrapped 43 minutes. Now, ladies and gentlemen, here's my deepest wish here, is that someone at CNN is a mole. Someone at CNN has had enough. Someone at CNN is like, I am so tired of this crap. I am so tired of them spoon-feeding a narrative to the American people that is a lie. I am so tired of them telling us to not believe our lying eyes and ears. and pretending that everything is great when inflation is through the roof, when gas prices are through the roof, electricity, food, people have to decide if they're going to put gas in their car or buy food for their kids. I'm so tired of the gaslighting that they're doing, acting like that Donald Trump is some raging racist when up until he said he was running for president, no one ever said that. I'm tired of this. And what I hope in my heart of hearts is that someone at CNN is like, you know what? I got 43 minutes of raw video here. I think I'm going to send that to James O'Keefe. I think I'm going to send that to the O'Keefe Media Group or to Charlie Kirk of Turning Point or to the Trump campaign or anybody that is on the, or Elon Musk. Give it to Elon's people. And let's see what this dummy actually said for 43 minutes when Dana Bash is sitting there giving her the answers to the test. Let's see how she performs, because that will be very fascinating to me. Now, Joe Biden is, I guess, still president of the United States, which nobody actually thinks he's running the country. Yesterday, and I'm taping this Wednesday, so keep in mind when I tape Wednesdays midweek. You don't hear it till Saturday. A lot could change in a few days. He could drop dead at any time. But, and a side note about that, he was on vacation for another, 3 weeks, and whoever was running his X account was putting up pablum and dumb things. It's like, we know that Joe Biden's not writing this. Like, stop fronting. You're on the beach, old man, with your handler, Jill Biden, the matriarch of the Biden crime family. And I cannot wait until karma truly comes to collect for these criminals. These dumb criminals who have been grifting off the American people, who have been getting rich, selling access to Joe Biden for the last, 30 years or whatever, to the tune of over $25 million. I think that's on the low end, by the way, because karma will come to collect. And as soon as Joe Biden dies, the party's over. The Biden crime family is so screwed. And Jill Biden is going to have to sell all those, $5,000 dresses that she wears on the cover of Marie Claire. And she's like, I'm just like you. I just happened to go to, Paris Fashion Week, New York Fashion Week, and pick up this $5,000 dress. I'm just like you. That's going to be fun to watch. Anyway, Joe Biden, they trotted him out yesterday, put him in front of a really little tiny kid desk. And he read some stupid statement for a couple of minutes. And then he didn't realize, because the teleprompter didn't say, get up, walk off stage, because if the teleprompter said end of speech, he would have read the words end of speech, walk off stage. So he sat there smiling like a senile old man, waiting for his tapioca pudding in the nursing home until an aide had to come up and literally lift him up out of the seat almost and usher him off the stage slowly, like you're walking grandpa back into the nursing home. That's what they had to do. They're pretending that Joe Biden still runs this country, but they're trying to pretend they're playing games with the immigration numbers. Again, don't believe your lying eyes. Listen to what Democrats tell you, because they're the smart ones. Biden and Kamala Harris are playing with border stats to create this illusion that crossings are dropping in ground zero swing states. So they're pretending that, the Republican governors, good Greg Abbott, who whatever political stunt it was to start sending illegals to blue states, chef's kiss delicious. Give that guy a raise, whoever told Greg Abbott to do that, because it was genius. Because what it did was tell the blue states, here you go. Here you go. We've had to deal with this crap for decades. Here's some illegal aliens. Have fun dealing with them. But they're trying to play with the stats and saying that, oh no, really, illegal immigration's going down, and it's evil Donald Trump that didn't want this great border bill to get passed. No, it was a horrible bill. They were going to allow 5,000 people in a day before they even stopped people from coming across the border, and then they were going to give amnesty to all the millions and millions who are already here. Look, Donald Trump next week at the debate, I hope that he hammers the hell out of this woman. But as I said last week, do not underestimate her. But he needs to keep it together and hammer the ever living hell out of her, because it's going to be wild to watch. All right, that's my time, guys. We got to one topic. It is what it is. You've been listening to the Angela Box Show. Come back next week, ladies and gentlemen. And until next time, everybody, keep kicking ass and taking names. Peace!